Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Cinema A to B. Today we've got a listener recommendation, plus it's going to be our first ever Alfred Hitchcock film. We're going to be talking about 1954's Rear Window. So my mother's a huge Hitchcock fan, loves it, and this is her favorite Hitchcock movie as well as her favorite movie of all time. So, with that, Ben, thoughts on Hitchcock and Rear Window?
So I'm just gonna let you know this is my favorite Hitchcock film as well.
Hey,
not by a mile, but this and Vertigo. But I give this one the nod. No, this is a really cool piece of cinema. I've never seen a movie with a more impressive set piece than Rear Window. And it's not that it's just visually impressive, it's what Hitchcock does with it. Like, it's so functional in the way things are lined up with the ability, the angles he gets for the ability for Jimmy Stewart to, like, peer in at the right angle, but then lose track of a character as well. And it's not been that long ago that I first saw this, probably within the last 10 or 15 years. I think is the first time. I've seen it through 2 or 3 times. And it's funny because I actually forgot a lot of the ending after recently on a rewatch. I remembered about 2/3 of the movie. I was like, well, wait, I don't remember exactly how this wraps up, which was kind of fun to get a refresher on that. No, it's from the master of Suspense for good reason. That's, that was his title. That was his moniker. And this is a really nice example of that. I don't know. I can't recommend this movie enough. And I'll get into, there's a quasi remake that I'm kind of familiar with that I'll get in later in our conversation. It's kind of interesting, but, what's not to like? James Stewart, Grace Kelly, oh my gosh. So it's interesting because this is 54, but I'm starting to see the pivot in acting with these two away from the more stage-driven performance. Like, we're starting to get a little more subtlety here.
Yes.
And she, is kind of key with that here and doesn't overdo it, I think, as much as she probably could have. And I have to think that Hitchcock was starting to kind of adjust kind of performance to a certain extent too with her, but my goodness, man, it's aged
really well.
Yeah.
So, and I think so they did a restoration on the print, a hand done restoration, if I remember reading, because basically it had been sitting and just all the yellows had gone out of the film, so they had to restore that. And so it was painstakingly done. And so I didn't watch the 4K, but I got to watch the restored version of it, and it just still looks great. It doesn't look like it's, bad at all. So it looks like it was done really well. So I was very impressed with that. But with my mother, some of it, obviously, I think I've been ingrained in me that this is the best Hitchcock just because that's what she says every single time she talks about this movie. And so I have to agree. I'm with her. I love Jimmy Stewart. So for me, this is fantastic. And obviously, I think Grace Kelly's, a fantastic foil to him. But the fact that this all basically happens in one room, the entire thing is just stunning. And then to find out that they built that entire block in one studio, and most of the apartments had running water and heat, and a lot of the actors who were in those rooms would just be there all day. And he's just like, well, when I'm not really shooting, you just be there just doing stuff. So if we just happen to catch you in a side thing, and so especially the dancer, she would just hang out and just read books or practice dancing or do whatever, because she was an amateur dancer or trying to be one. And so just be in that room all day, and it was just this kind of fantastic stuff. And he had little earpieces in all of them, so you can kind of then radio to them of what he wanted them to do. So it was just stunning. And then they the whole fact I forget how many bulbs they put in, but before they put in everything else, they basically put in the lighting feature, so they could simulate the sun, and
yes.
then in 45 minutes or something like that, they could turn it into night. And so it's
the night stuff
stunning.
Looks amazing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Even by today's standards, the night looks killer.
Yeah.
It's kind of ahead of its, well, not kind of, it's way ahead of its time to me in simulating night. Yeah. No, you're right. The transition in lighting with the way the sun comes, up and over, or simulating that basically at Paramount is still next level.
Yeah. Absolutely. Everything that he did was just impressive on this. I was just like looking at what kind of not even just the acting, because he's definitely not an actor's director. Like, he barely talks to the actors. He doesn't really direct them. He just hires you knowing that you can do the job yourself, and he doesn't have to, like, I think him and Jimmy Stewart didn't really have conversations. The only thing Jimmy Stewart said he knew when he was doing bad, or like had to like do something else, is that after a take, Hitchcock would just be like, that take was tired. Like, that's basically all he would say. And Stewart was like, okay, so got to punch it up, got to do something different. He's bored with that. What do we need to do? But other than that, like, no notes, no sit down with the director, walk through your character, all that stuff. He's just get it done, figure it out. You do.
Well, I might ruffle some feathers here, but when I go through like the classic lists of what most consider like greatest directors of all time,
mm-hmm.
most of them are not actors, directors.
No.
Most of them are more obsessed with camera.
Yeah.
Their language is camera. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and there are exceptions, but generally speaking, the best to do it, hire the best talent in the world and let them just kind of do their thing, and don't really, hit your mark when you're supposed to hit it, say the dialogue the way I want you to say it. But outside of that, the obsession is with camera and camera movement. And Hitchcock was no exception. I do think it was cool that there's a reference to Jimmy Stewart's real background in the movie, because he was a bomber pilot with the police officer Doyle, which Stewart really did fly. Like, tons of missions during the Second World War. In fact, it's amazing he even survived and like came back to become one of the best actors we've ever had. Yeah, he their interplay, him and Grace Kelly's banter is exquisite. Like, it's just, it feels so effortless. Like, you can tell they were jiving, and I did read some of that they got on well. And Stewart's wife did come on set routinely to make sure that everything was on the up and up.
Yeah, there's a couple of those scenes in there that I'm just like, whoa, this is 54. My goodness.
Well, I was thinking that when the ballet dancers, like, when you first see her and she's bending over, and then she like her top falls off.
Yeah, it comes off, and I'm like, what the heck?
How scandalous was that in 54? Now we don't think anything of it, but 54, man, that's like, pretty big deal. But it wasn't. There's enough stuff in these movies to indicate that Hitchcock may have indeed been a peeping Tom.
He had a camera set up in his apartment it's fine on
with a 400 millimeter lens.
Yeah. Oh, that's scary.
Freaking Canon on that thing.
That's scary. But no, it's just, I think there's something that this movie does that you just don't really get a lot of. I mean, and it shows Hitchcock, like you said, being the master of suspense, of like, even knowing, like, having seen this movie multiple times, knowing what's going to happen, I'm still kind of like on, like, especially when like Grace Kelly goes into the other apartment and you like freak out, and then when
it's horrifying.
Yeah, when he shows up, like, you just don't know, and he builds a suspense of like, as well as like, is Stewart going mad? Is Jeffrey's going crazy? Like, everyone else is being like, dude, no, she's alive, she's here, like, she's out of town or whatever, on the stuff, and just like, is he going in this like descent of madness, right? Because he was asleep at that one moment when Torvald decided to take that woman out of the apartment. Yeah.
And hats off to Raymond Burr for like an amazing physical performance, right? Because he's got almost no lines.
No.
And the way he moves is very distinct. And he's a pretty large man. Obviously, we know his acting talents from his, Perry Mason and Old Ironsides and stuff like that. amazing actor, but he's subtly like perfect for the role as Thorwald.
Yeah. Well, and I think it makes him scarier that he doesn't really talk much, and especially like until the end. Like,
I love the shots of him smoking his cigar.
Yep, just now you just
in
see
the
that,
dark.
oh my goodness, yeah.
It's like
and it's one of those things of like you could tell like Stewart plays Jeffries is kind of really going into menace because he starts to forget some of these things or whatever. He's like so focused on other stuff that he's like still has the light on, and he looks over and there's Thorwald smoking a cigar, looking out the window at everybody, seeing who's spying on him.
Yeah,
man.
By the way, his nicknames for everybody is hilarious. Miss Lonely Hearts, Miss Torso, Miss Hearing Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, and the messaging of the movie is like, it's really kind of conflated because it's like, should you really be spying on your neighbors like this, or shouldn't you? Because in the end, it ends up being kind of justified, but at the same time, like, you can almost tell that, like, does Jeffries like regret it a little bit, even though he was correct, and this guy didn't get away with it. Was it worth it? By the way, that I will say there are some times where the film hasn't aged, and him falling out of the window is terrible.
Yeah, that does not look great. Yeah, that was the one moment like, oh,
he's like been cut out.
Yeah.
On the film, and then they've like moved him down, like shrunk him down. Yeah, it's not.
Hey, they had to do what they had to do.
And there's some shots sped up around that time too. That cutaways where they like sped up the film. I was like, I don't understand the creative intent there. Minor gripes in a movie that's still pretty timeless.
It's still funny to me that you like literally there is no true like there's an end obviously to it, but you don't get a whole lot of resolution from it. Like all you get is just like, oh yeah, they found her, the body or whatever, and stuff like that. And that's it. Like one line, and then it cuts to him, a couple weeks later with two broken legs. So. Yeah,
and then she's reading his like Himalayas book, and then like she realizes he's asleep, and she goes back to Bazaar.
Yeah,
which has been kind of a back and forth of like, yeah, you're sorry, dude, you're not going to change her. Like, no, you guys are just going to have to like find your middle ground, and
I do, though it is really funny. So watching it this time, I noticed the pianist's apartment or whatever, like with the windows and stuff, was very, to me, reminiscent of the girls' apartment in Friends. Like you never really, you never see it from the outside. You always see it from the inside, but it had that same kind of look of the windows and the little patio out there. And I was like, I started to wonder, and I'm sure it is, but like, is it an homage to
Very
Rear
well
Window?
Could be. Yeah, absolutely. Because they're in New York too, right?
Yeah, they're in New York. Yeah, so it could. I mean, it certainly could be. But I just noticed. I was like, wow. I mean, one, that guy's apartment was fantastic. I like, with all the windows and the shades. I was like, this is great. Though living at that time with no AC in New York, when it gets up to be like 89, 90 degrees, no, thank you. No, thank you.
That would have been like being in a greenhouse.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's why you put those covers down. My goodness. But
I like that they had it was set up correctly for there being a good reason why the windows were all open, right? Like they're in a heat wave, they're in a New York heat wave. So yeah, everything works. Like there's not any big holes in the movie.
No.
So far as the way it kind of progresses. But yeah, it's got some funny moments, but overall it is a tension building. And you're right, when she actually goes in there.
Yeah.
That's horrifying, because it's like, really, you've put this woman that loves you in this position? Mm-hmm. Like, willingly? And
she's doing this because she doesn't want to lose you, because you're looking for something more than what she can offer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you when he really loses his stuff is when he thinks it's a good idea to write, "What have you done with her?"
Yeah.
And give it to him. I was like, that's gutsy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Just crazy. Yeah. And then I did laugh at one good part when near the end, when Doyle is running up and he sees Stewart out of the window and he looks into the cop and he's just like, "Throw me your gun," or I forget. He like actually says that whatever the gun is. He just tosses him a gun across the
30.
Yeah, the 38 across. Toss your 38. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that?
It's worth a shot.
Worth it. Yeah, it was worth a shot. He didn't actually get one off, but no, this is really good. So I was doing some research and I actually read about this, and I didn't know this was a thing, but so there was apparently 5 lost Hitchcock's movies that like were shown, and then like in like the early 60s had something like Hitchcock basically wouldn't give the rights out or whatever, so they weren't seen for like 20 something odd years. And then when he passed away, they went to his daughter, and his daughter then signed a new deal to release them again. They all actually went back out into the theaters in 1982 and a re-release, and Rear Window is one of them. So they weren't showing up on TV. They weren't at the theater. It was like they from 54 to 63 might have been in theaters, but then after 63 or something like that, it was
interesting.
Out.
It was out. Okay.
Yeah, until like 80, until the mid 80s, 82, 83, something like that. Man. So like 20 years, it was out of circulation. So yeah, I did not know that, but I was just looking some stuff up about it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is because obviously I've lived in a world where the
his whole catalog is like,
yeah. But like when we're talking, it was Rear Window, it was Rope, it was The Man Who Knew Too Much, it was Vertigo.
Jeez.
And then there's a 5th one, I don't know, but like yeah, so like it was they were just taken out of circulation, and then again it was so like no one got to see them, and then they were brought back after they signed a new like. Not development deal is not the right word.
Distribution.
Just, distribution deal. Thank you. So.
Well, kudos to her for bringing those back out of the
I know.
Because
just think about not having any of those movies.
Yeah, he was prolific by any stretch. I mean, they're all very, I'd say Hitchcock's genre is pretty narrow. Like thrillers, horror. He didn't play in a bunch of different spaces, but where he did are some of the best movies we have. So, but yeah, this one I just can't get over the use of that set, like, and it wasn't, I don't know, for him to have the vision in his mind of like, this is what I want, and the best way for me to achieve this is going to be to have the craftsman build it all. Inside, and the execution's just perfect. And I love all the first person perspective stuff through his camera lens that you get.
With the binoculars.
I mean, or the binoculars. Yeah, it's like you really are seeing the film through Jeffrey's perspective. Like you're like this unspoken third person that's with them in the apartment. It's that defined. So, and sometimes that's cool, and sometimes that's kind of uncomfortable, because like I did find some of the, like, Hitchcock's playing a little bit of a trick, I think, on us by, like, he's giving us those perspectives, and it's like, oh, it's really interesting. Oh, did this guy, did this neighbor kill his wife or not? Is he going to get away with it? But then, like, you're in real close when Grace Kelly's like on his lap. And they're like, it's like in an intimate moment, and you contrast that, and it's like, I don't know if I should be watching them. You know what I mean? Like you're like a voyeur in towards the two main characters in those moments. It's like dude's playing mind games with the viewer, I think, like on when is it acceptable to look, when isn't it, and that we are pre-programmed, I think, to want to people watch. Yeah. Like I enjoy doing it. Like plop down on a bench somewhere and
watch people go through life.
Yeah, I don't like plan a day of doing that, but like if I'm in the right space and I'm maybe a little tired, like I'm completely content to do that. Like it's high, people are just entertaining whether they mean to be or not. It's like that woman like lowering her dog like 3 stories in a basket. Yeah.
Which, by the way, like, if you just let your dog roam New York City for free, you can't get mad. Like, when it gets into something, like, and also, you hadn't pulled up, how do you know it was poison and it just didn't eat something, like, out of the trash that was poison and it died itself? Like like, you jump to conclusions really fast, lady. Like, I mean, I
did.
know obviously for the story, but I'm like,
She was
you
mad.
can't just let your dog run around New York City and then expect it just to not get into trouble or to get into something it shouldn't and then die. I'm like,
It's pretty legit though that she trained the dog to like not jump out of the basket.
yeah, it is. I mean,
Of all the ways he could have died, I thought that would have been the one, but no, strangled by Perry Mason.
really, it was more of she was just too lazy. She didn't want to give it, take it for a walk.
That's true.
So
She didn't want to take him down the flights of stairs.
Nope.
Yeah, to use the restroom. That's true. Rig that contraption up.
I do not want to. I would rather spend the time to train this dog to stay in a basket that I bring down than to walk it myself. My goodness.
By the way, I don't think PETA would approve of that now if they made that movie today.
No dog. That was the other thing too. The dog was certainly a stuffed animal when it was dead, when it had gone up. Like it did. It was not fooling anybody. Like I was like, no, not even close. Not even.
It looked
close.
like a little rug on the ground. It didn't even look like a dog. It looked like they took like a little bear fur or something and just threw it on the ground.
Yeah.
The dog is dead.
The dog is dead. My goodness. Yeah. I mean, Hitchcock was a genius.
Yeah, not a particularly friendly individual.
No.
But
he made his little debut at the pianist's apartment or whatever. I think it was. Yeah.
His
appearance or whatever. Yeah, because I guess he always appears somewhere. Yeah. And so that was, I'm pretty sure it was in the piano guy's apartment, correctly. There's something about him. He could tell a good story, keep you in suspense, and knew how to make it scarier than it actually was by not showing you any things.
Yeah, he may have even been a better manipulator of like emotion from what you see and what you don't than Spielberg.
Yeah, I can see that. I can agree with that.
I think I can tell Spielberg grew up watching Hitchcock.
Except from the mid-'60s. Well, I mean, you didn't watch this from the mid-'60s onward until after E.T., so,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where I went with that. Anyways, who cares?
No, I mean, Spielberg would have gone to that stuff in the theater.
Yeah, he would have. And you still have a bunch of his other stuff that was still in circulation, like Down for Murder and Psycho and The Birds and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just, just a couple.
North by Northwest.
Yeah, I love North by Northwest.
Yeah.
So, but apparently, obviously Cary Grant was big in a lot of Hitchcock films, but apparently Hitchcock preferred Jimmy Stewart because Cary Grant was kind of more difficult to work with. Interestingly enough, was more not full of himself is not the right word, but just kind of was needier. Where Jimmy Stewart was just so full of himself that he was like, I got this. Things will happen. And so, but apparently he's the only actor that could actually go argue with Hitchcock, and Hitchcock may actually back down and agree with the actor. That's
Stewart?
at least Stewart was.
Stewart,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, because Stewart was super full of himself apparently. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're Jimmy Stewart. You have a right to be.
I think so.
Yeah.
Guy had been through it too. With
Yeah.
PTSD and stuff from the war. Yeah, he'd paid his dues, so I think he probably earned the right to be. I never heard Stewart was difficult.
No, I think just he
Ego,
knew his worth.
yeah.
He had a big ego. But I mean, I love him as an actor. I think this is my second favorite of his. I think the Glenn Miller story is still my favorite of Jimmy Stewart's. Yeah, I just love that movie.
My favorite is probably Liberty Valance.
Oh, that's really good too. Or when he plays Harvey, or not Harvey, but in the movie Harvey, he's just got a.
And then the other one's what? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
It's a good movie too. Yeah, he's one of the all timers. I mean, I don't know who I'd put him on my Rushmore. He would be a contender amongst plenty of others, but yeah, he had an amazing run.
Yeah, he did. My goodness. Yeah, just wow. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna stop looking at his page now. But yeah, he's got just a ton of good stuff on it. Just impressive.
The fact he only won one Oscar is kind of wild, but
yeah. And I mean, and I think you had it right. So in a lot of times he does feel like he's still that stage play actor, but I feel I agree with you. There is some transition of him. He's not as stagey as some of the other people. Going back and.
Yeah, if you watch, I know you don't like this movie, but if you watch It's a Wonderful Life and then watch this, there's there's a noticeable difference in his understanding, I think, of what the camera will pick up.
And what it
Whereas It's a Wonderful Life, it's still it's a noticeably loud performance. Like, this is much more subtle. Like, obviously the character's completely different. This is a much more jaded, like, just a more jaded character in general. Weathered. I just can't believe he's like 46 in this. He looks so much older.
That's what smoking will do to you, buddy.
Oh, was he a smoker as well?
I assume everybody in the 50s smoked, you know?
That's your default line. Yeah.
That's the default line. It's just everybody.
And
everybody
Grace
smoked.
Kelly is like 24, 25 here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very a large difference between the two of them.
And nothing's changed.
No.
I mean, that's been the Hollywood MO forever, is like have a leading man that's like 20 years older than his female counterpart. I mean, that's forever. That's been the way it's...
Well, like Tom Cruise and the Mission Impossibles with Haley Atwell. I mean, I think there's like 20 to 30 year difference there.
Yeah.
Between the two of them. Yeah. Probably 20. Probably not 30, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Pretty much the norm.
Yeah. Very much the norm. Well, you got anything else on that note? Maybe not on that note, maybe something else about the movie?
No, I mean, I cannot recommend this enough.
No,
I
agree.
I don't talk people into watching movies anymore. That's just not really my thing. I used to try to do a lot of that, and I just wasn't very successful with it. And so I've stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But we like to kind of give a recommendation now and again, or most times if we've enjoyed something that we've discussed here on the podcast, and if somebody's not elected not to watch this, I think most people have seen it, but I think it's probably been a long time since they've seen it, and so I would say a rewatch is
definitely.
I
mean, it holds up as we talk.
Oh, the other thing I did want to mention.
Oh yeah.
So in 2007, they basically remade it with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
and it's called Disturbia. And when I was working on Norbit, they were editing Disturbia at DreamWorks. We were editing off site right around the corner, and DreamWorks is at the back of Universal lot. Mm-hmm. You actually have to go through the Universal gate. And yes, I felt very special because I had a pass to get in. I had a pass to get through security onto Universal, and then I had a second pass to get through gate security at DreamWorks. Because it was separate. And it's at the very back, but they were editing Disturbia at the offices in DreamWorks. Never ran into Spielberg, but he was around. And I have to say that the cafeteria at DreamWorks was legit. Like legit. Yeah. We didn't always get to eat lunch over there, but when we did, my goodness. And the Amblin Theater was over there. We got to screen. I screened Norbit a bunch in there. Quality control screenings while they were in the edit. But yeah, the editing team for Disturbia was over there. They were really cool guys, the assistant editors and stuff. But yeah, Disturbia is basically a teenage adaptation of Rear Window. And actually not a bad one, honestly. It's fairly well done. And instead of a broken leg, Shia's under house arrest. But then starts suspecting a neighbor of being a serial killer, and it goes on from there. So, not a bad adaptation. I know there was a remake in the late 90s with the late Christopher Reeve, and it was actually shot after he had his accident. And so his paralysis was worked into the script. So he was like quadriplegic with a really high in the security system, and so he's watching his property cameras and
starts to see that stuff.
Starts to see stuff afoot. But so yeah, it's been kind of messed with a couple times, but this is the original. It's like a top 5, top 51 movie on IMDb. So I mean, it's an 8.5. I think it goes without saying how good it is.
Yeah, I think it's
so. But that's all I got.
Awesome. Well, we just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us on this episode of our first Hitchcock movie. It happens to be our favorite, so probably never going to talk about Hitchcock ever again. I'm just kidding. Absolutely not. That's not true at all. But anyways, with that, we will talk at you next week with another episode of Cinema A to B.